Hello everybody. Welcome to Tpull's Corner. We're doing something a little bit different we don't normally do. Instead of making our deck, we just went to the jump zone and we're doing the jump start. So I got to choose 2 packs. And I base my packs based on what cards I still need for my collection. So I'm not really looking at what decks I think would make for a good combination. I'm just sort of crossing my fingers and hoping it all works out. But in this one, I got an additional copy of the Liliana Planeswalker. So I'm happy already. But I played around with the deck, and it's not a bad deck. So I thought we'd have some fun and just see what happens. There she is, Liliana of the Veil. And this is, I appreciate Wizards of the Coast and when they're trying to come up with formats and ways to keep us entertained. Here they've got 2 half decks. They've tried to create a good theme for each half deck. And then when you combine the 2, you discover a whole bunch of additional synergies and ways they interact. And they've tried to make it nice so that you have a ton of different choices for these half decks. And the way that they combine is going to make for a slightly different and unique deck each time, which is kind of cool. And we're just going to get rid of that one now. And we don't need to worry about that right now, so we'll just hit them for 2. Carding Patron of Flames. Just great. What was that thing? Let's face down. I think we already have to use Liliana then. Can't have a 4/3 wandering around here.
A fight? And you think you can win? Haven't you ever heard of personal
And they just quit. Okay. Well, let me go show you my my prefabricated deck. Anyway, we do get of 3 decks to choose from for your first half, and then they show up another 3, and you get to choose one of the next 3. Ooh, Mastery. Hang on. Let's go do the Mastery real quick. I'm so behind on filling these in. If the server will decide to work. For the new people, remember to subscribe. And for everybody, remember to like as we go to the Mastery tree, and we're just going to see what they recommend, and we'll take their suggested pick. The Shieldred Avatar. We're going to do it. We'll claim the prize. We'll set it as default. We're switching avatars fast these days. Okay, so if I go to play, let's go do... Oh, no, wait. I promised I would show the deck. Let's go click here first, and then we can open it up. So they had one deck called Inspired and one deck called Onslaught. So we are Inspired Onslaught. We have a Combat Courier. It's a blue-black deck. Weakstone Subjugation, so we can tap their opponent's creature. Cold Conscript, so we can bring stuff back. Cut Down and Disfigure for removal spells early on. Thopter Mechanic. Here's a when you draw your second card kind of effect. That gives us the Thopters, which fly. Battle Rage Blessing, little battle tactic. Bonecaller Cleric, we can sacrifice the Cleric and return a target creature card, so hopefully we can make good on that. Splatter Goblin, when it dies, opponent gets -1/-1 till end of turn. Evangel of Synthesis, when it enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard. As long as you draw 2 cards or more this turn, it gets +1 in Menace. So the blue deck, Inspired, really is paying heavy into this draw a second card. And their third pass event, which gives you a way later when you have enough mana to draw a second card. You can actually draw 2 cards. Aggressive Sabotage with the red kicker, that's why we had red lands. Discard 2 cards and deal 3 damage. Balduvian Atrocity also has a red kicker. So we could return a target creature card from the graveyard for a quick turn if we have the kicker cost. Gurgling Anointer, whenever you draw your second card, put a +1/+1 counter on the Anointer. So I think this was with the black Onslaught deck, but it fits in nicely and works with the Inspired mechanic, right? Moment of Defiance, +2/+1 and lifelink and draw a card. Phyrexian Rager, when it enters battle, draw a card and lose 1 life, so that would help us draw a second card and works well with the blue deck. Liliana, of course, we can discard a card, sacrifice, make them sacrifice a creature, or we have our ultimate. Take Flight, give a creature +1, and whenever the creature attacks, you draw a card, so we could activate the second card mechanic every single turn with that. Scrapwork Rager also, another when it enters the battlefield, draw a card, and it has Unearth, so it's a little more expensive, but you get to use it twice. Gixin Puppeteer, when you draw your second card each turn, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And there's also a lot of this, when something dies, you return another creature card back, so that's the 2 things that are going on in this deck. Tattered Apparition, one we can just use as a monosync and pump up the power and toughness. Extinguish the Light to destroy a creature or planeswalker. And Sengir Connoisseur, a 3/3 flyer. When a creature dies, put a counter on it. But they only let it activate once per turn. The jump starts are fun. I ignore them for a long time, and then when I happen to remember them and feel like I can do something, I guess I have to be in the mood. I'll go make a couple of decks and just try and get a nice card that I don't have in my collection yet. You can there's only like 1 prize, so once you claim that, you can resign and start all over again and just keep choosing new ones. Or if you like the deck you have, you can just go in and play an endless round of jumpstart cards with just this deck that you happen to like. I feel like we have enough land. We just need red for the kicker. These are only 40 card decks. So when I say half a deck, each half deck is only 20 cards. And what do we want to do? I guess we'll get rid of Weakstone Subjugation. We got the numbers, but they do not want to give up their creatures. Why not? Token, draw a card, or a 3/2 shapeshifter creature. They're gonna make some creatures? What did they do? Oh, it's pre-combat main phase. I guess we're just gonna attack. There we go. Pre-combat main phase. If they have a big spell already, they'll take the treasure. But, you know, if they're willing to give up 6 life, they could do all 3. Okay, they're doing the shapeshifter. That was my first guess. It looks like a witch. County of Terrible Secrets. Let's get rid of the shapeshifter. They're going to draw a card and get a life, though. This may be a mistake, but I feel like I need to go do something. They're actually gonna do it. Okay. We will die, but so will you. We get the counter on the Thopter mechanic, and we gain life. That's a good turn. Do I give up the ghost and forget looking for red and just put that down? We've got all these other choices. So there's not necessarily a rush to put the atrocity down in front of the others. My opponent has to choose at least one, so they're at least giving up one turn, or one life point each turn. So the clock is on them. They're the ones that are going to have to do something. They can't just have their discard creatures stand there motionless the whole game. He's doing a good job of cycling through his deck too, though. These creatures aren't that tough. But Thopter mechanic at least is outside the range of a cut down now. But there are other 2-mana removal spells that black has. We're not going to do anything just yet. We're almost to the point where I have enough land I can do a couple of things a turn. They go for the treasure again. That's 8 mana possible. What can you do now? That doesn't feel sufficiently threatening to me. +1 in flying would be better if it had a creature that had an effect on it if it hit you. Or a bigger creature. Generally speaking, putting that on what's normally a 2-1, not that big a deal. You got something else to add to it? You don't have any blue. Why are you taking so long? There we go. You could have used ninjutsu, right? No, that one doesn't have ninjutsu. Okay. Next. Flyer? Or... let's grow the Thopter. We can still bring down the Splatter Goblin. And we can afford to attack. You have a chance to take out a 2/2, but they'd have to double block. That's an interesting choice. They're going with the priest again, probably. Alright, now they're building a nice little defensive board. Can we catch up? Every time Thought or Mechanic gets big enough to attack, they get something else down that makes me stop. And still no sign of red. I'm not going to block. That boon only works if they leave the battlefield this turn, right? Do they have a way to sacrifice their own creature? So that one's kind of useless. Next. That feels good. Yeah, and we can put down another flyer. Draw the card. Drawing the card pumps it up for both creatures. And even if they got a hit on me with every creature, they don't quite have enough to take me out now. An Imperial Moth just became a chump blocker for the Mechanic if they can't get rid of it. And no more life gain. They can attack with Pillar and get another Samurai Knight. What else can we have you bring back? Bring back Kami? Ah, bummer. Look at all that. Okay, we will block Naomi, so we don't have to put up with any more of those. We will block this guy, and that's it. That's 6 points of damage. And their priest goes bye-bye. I might try and bring stuff back. Is there anybody that's worth sacrificing to bring back with the Cleric? That's worth spending 4 mana on? I don't really feel like it. Okay. We will bring this one back. That one enters tapped. They can block 3. They'd be down to 1 life. And then they might be able to kill me. We're going to do it anyway. When we attack, we draw a card. Let's see what else that gets me. They have to block with all 3. So I'm counting on the fact that they don't have life gain. They might be able to do 4 points of damage to me next turn. They should go after the cleric because the rager goes away anyway. They go after the rager instead. It's the same damage points. That's a misplay. There's no reason for them to leave the cleric on the field. Okay, he figured it out. Man, I drew a lot of land. Alright, and that gives me one more blocker, if I need it. Obviously, they're going to get the treasure and go down to 1 life point. If they have removal, they've got me, actually. They can hit me with all of those. Oh, he gets 2 life back. Okay, that's some time. He can also go seek another card. Or he can just go get more creatures. Moth gives him 1 chump blocker, not 2. He kind of has to kill me this time, doesn't he? It's like, what can he bring back? A discard card and a life gain card. Yeah, I'll get rid of the tap land. Why would you do that? You need the flyer to block at least 1 place. Actually, I don't think it matters. I think he blew it. Should not have put down the virus beetle. If he put down the priest, he would have gained 1 more life, and maybe he could have chump blocked the mechanic, and he would have only taken 3 points from the anointer. Still no red. What can I not? No, I don't want to add that. I want to seek. Seek a card. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, get rid of you. Then we're attacking. And that should be all she wrote. So the red for the kicker didn't show up for us this time. The discard is not the greatest. And we didn't do much returning from the grave, but drawing the 2nd card was helpful. Keeper of the Cadence. We'll do 1 more. This is always just like a secondary pleasure for me when I stumble across a good combination of decks. I almost never pick just trying to make 2 good decks to put together that I think will make 1 good synergy. I'm always just looking at which one has a good mythic rare card that I don't have yet that I might get if I choose that particular stack. And there's a way you can go and look it up too if you want to do some research. There's a webpage at MTGA. .com. You just go /jump in. The jump has a hyphen. And it's mtgazone.com. And I'll include the link below. But that lists all of the combinations that they have. And they update it periodically. So basically it just lists all the details for the jump in event. It goes ahead and explains everything for you in case you need it. And then they have the names of every single deck. I think they have every single one. I think they're pretty good about keeping it updated when Magic mixes it up and adds in new expansion mini packs and stuff like that. But they kind of give you the good cards, the rare cards and the mythic rares that might be in the pack if you select it. And that just took too long. That doesn't count. Let's do another one. So for example, I only have one copy of Siege Veteran, which is the follow-on to the Aspirant, where you can, at the beginning of your turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature you control. So they have a Soldier's mini pack, and you could get, possibly you could get a Sky Strike Officer out of it, or you could get a Siege Veteran. So if I ever see the Soldiers one pop up in the jump-in event, I'm going to take it, because I want to try and get more Siege Veterans. And I think I need more Sky Strike Officers too. I always need more of everything. Hey, we have some red this time. Spells. Computer. First we get a draw, just because everything takes too long. Then we have delays here. A discard deck theme. Okay, we like the cards that we have, so we'll just get rid of you now. We don't have a lot of flyers, so we don't need a bunch of 1/1 Ravens flying around over our heads. Discard 2. Let's get rid of the Rager and Moment of Defiance. Next. Yay, we actually got to cast a legitimate spell. They have the Onslaught deck too. What do we want to discard? I think we discard the Atrocity. So we just want to get rid of them and give a big hit. And that's all it takes. And they had the same pack, right? You can see all of these cards, and instead of them getting Liliana of the Veil, they were dealt the Raven Man. But they did not want to stay in play. And then so I could just keep on playing with this same deck the entire time, or I could resign and go in and choose 2 new packs. And if you like this particular deck, you could add it, and I think you could just reuse it on Jump In later if you wanted to. No, I don't think you can. It makes you choose the new packs and then resign. So, but you could add it to your decks if you wanted to keep a 40-card deck for another format and use it. Or you could import it, and when you add it to your decks, it adds it to your deck list. And then you could change the style of it and make it a 60-card deck. Like here it's limited rebalanced. When you add it to your deck, you can change that setting here in the deck details, and then you could add 20 more cards and flesh it out to add on things to the theme. This is not bad if you're if you don't have a lot of time in your pressed. Like say your daily goal is to do cast 30 black or blue spells. And you have this deck that you added from the Jump-In event. It's got good skeletal structure for the bones of a good deck. You just need to add in a little bit more land and a couple more spells that fit in with the concept, and you can end up with something pretty good. So it works out nice. I like the way this one turned out. I'm not sure that I'll keep it, just because I tend to want to build my decks from the ground up. But this one's tempting. The reason I don't probably keep it is because I think my deck list is full already, and I don't have room for another one right this second. But this one I was happy with. This one was fun. So we'll leave it there. Remember to like and subscribe. If you have any questions about the Jump-In event, leave them below in the comments. I'll help you out however I can. But thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a good one.